What's going on, everyone? We're going to start in just a second. Hope everyone had a great week. Welcome to the stream. Okay, welcome to the stream. We got a sweet stream today. We're going to be doing a Python interpreter in Python. I know how crazy that sounds, but we'll talk a little bit about that before I do it. But to start, I got a couple channel update topics that I want to talk about. While I'm doing that, please get your questions ready because I'm going to do about a 5 to 10 minute Q&A after I talk about the channel. So go ahead and start putting your questions in the comments, and the staff, and they'll check them out and they'll feed them over to me. All right, cool. So first, and this is the biggest announcement that I have, is the channel hit 100,000 subscribers, which is absurd. It's absolutely absurd. You know, when I started this about a year and a half ago, May 2017, I was stoked when I got my first like 200 subscribers. You know, it got to 200 and I thought that was crazy. So to see it hit 5K and then 10K and then 25K, 50K, and here we are at 100K, it's just insane. So I can't thank everybody enough, because it's the people that come to my videos and watch them and come talk in the Discord, and you know, when you tell your friends about the channel, you know, that's what makes this channel grow. So thank you so much for that. It's crazy. And we're just continuing on. We're going for the million, and then we're going for the 10 million, and then we're going for the billion. So let's do it. Okay, second point is, as you know, I don't really accept donations. I don't do sponsorships. I don't do ads, but I do want people to know that I'm constantly getting emails. You know, can we sponsor your videos? Can we put ads in your videos? Can you make a entire video that's just a big ad? And I'm completely rejecting all of that. I don't want to do that. It's tempting because they're offering me a ton of money, but it's not about that. You know, I told everybody in the beginning, when I was just a small guy, 500 subscribers, you know, 1K or something like that, that I wasn't really interested in, you know, getting rich off this, and that's still the case today. So I want people to know that the reason there's no sponsorships or ads or anything like that is because I'm telling people no. And I'm saying that this is not right for the channel. You know, my audience, they come to the videos because, you know, because they're high quality, they're quick, and there's no BS. I go right for it and I do it. And I'm not all about, you know, muddying up the videos just for a few bucks. So I'm not gonna do it. Next is, I am planning a special 100K video. I don't know what that's gonna be. I think it's gonna involve the fellows and the staff. I think we're gonna do something together, because that's gonna be a video that nobody's seen. I'm also in talk with other YouTubers to see if they want to maybe get in on some, you know, collaboration video or whatnot. So stay tuned for that. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but the 100K video, it's going to be two things. It's going to be the official launch of Engineer Man Knowledge Center, and then it's going to be some special video that's sort of broken away from the typical format that you would see on this channel. And then the last update is on EMKC, Engineer Man Knowledge Center. It is going very well. Very well. There's last time I checked, I think 192 members on EMKC. Got the very first challenge up, which means there's going to be more challenges coming. We're going to start doing the contests soon. All that infrastructure is in place. It's just a matter of creating this stuff. So no problem. And we got some. I got some new features in mind for EMKC as well. So I really want to grow that up. Remember, that's always supposed to be the extension of the Discord server, since the Discord server can only support so many people. Ghost Dog, what's up, buddy? Okay, so let's take some questions. Where is Engineer Man from, US or EU? I am from Florida in United States. Risque question. I know it's pointless talk, but what do you think about Python's updates to master slave terminology? Bullcrap. LOL. Yeah. Okay. Well, here's my thoughts on that. The and I'm not going to go down a political rabbit hole, of course, but there's terminology in technology that's what it is. It's been there forever. It's important that it stays to maintain backwards compatibility for people using it. Like Redis is going through this right now because people are demanding that they remove all this language from their software, and meanwhile, people who are more practical, they're saying, well, we can't remove it because how are we going to maintain backwards compatibility? That's one of their core things about their software is they've never broken anything since V1. So I think what I'll say on it is people need to look past the meaning of the word outside the context of like politics and just see it as that's the word in tech, and it has nothing to do with actual slavery, and that's what's in the code base, and if you want to break it all, then you're going to break the software. That's what it is. Need advice on Django or Express.js? Those are two different things. So Django is a Python web framework, and Express is a Node.js web framework. So those are kind of different. It's not one or the other. How to develop my programming logic? Just practice. Just practice. Just keep the best advice I give to everybody that's starting out, or even people who are intermediate skills, is just keep working on more and more projects. Just keep, and make sure you take projects that are tougher than you think your skills can support. Hi man, should I learn Java for a job in 2018? I think you should learn Java if the job wants Java, but I don't know that I would go out and learn Java just as a language that you'd like to learn. I mean, certainly, be familiar with it because it makes you a more well-rounded programmer, but I think in 2018, the purpose of Java is different than it was in, say, like 2008. Best Linux distro, the best Linux distro is the one that lets you get to work the quickest. So for me, that's actually Ubuntu, and that's the one I use. What's your favorite programming language and why? I like JavaScript. Everybody knows that. Second favorite's Python. And JavaScript is just super widespread now. And it's everywhere. There's going to be toasters and cars written in JavaScript eventually. What's the best way to get programming gigs? Upwork. Upwork's fine. If you're a freelance guy and you want to just do something on the side, Upwork is a sensible option for that. I don't even know why I'm advertising for them. I don't like them, but it is a way to, make money. Since when you're practicing Python? Forever ago. I've been writing Python since probably 2004, 2003. Looking to parse large amounts of data from WebSockets that kick off other queries to triage the data. How should I address age off and other memory concerns? I'm not sure I understand the question. If you could just re-ask that so they can get that to me. Hey, thanks a lot for the 10, man. I appreciate that. That means a lot to me, the support. Thanks a bunch. Staff, make sure he gets the right role in Discord. Gabe Meister. Thanks a lot, Gabe Meister99. It's really great. We make content related to the security field. I will make content related to the security field as it pertains to the engineering stuff. So, yeah, certainly you could see content on languages that are used, a lot in security. Virtual env or virtual wrapper. I don't use either. I usually like my server has so much stuff on it that I can't control all the different versions of everything, and that's true for Python, that's true for JavaScript, that's true for everything. And so I actually just use like Docker or containers, something like that. What's your take on the new Intel Python distribution? Well, at risk of sounding like at risk of being embarrassed, I don't actually know what that is. So you should send me a link so I can check it out. What do you think about Kotlin? I don't know. I tried it. It's, Kotlin, of course, is you can convert between the two. It's certainly less code, but it's also more complex code. So I don't know. I mean, there's always a trade-off for languages. You can make them really, really, really easy at the cost of flexibility and readability, or you can make them really, really hard at the cost of, having more verbose code. So I don't know. All right, I think that's it for Q&A for now. We'll do another Q&A session at the end. So let's jump into this Python interpreter stuff. It's going to be pretty cool. You guys are going to like this. Chase, please stop. Okay. So get rid of the splash. Okay, so Ghost Dog's being a terrorist right now, which he usually does. So you'll see ghost tails now, every now and again. Okay, so let's reiterate exactly what we're doing here. The title might be a little misleading. It says we're going to write a Python interpreter in Python. So the intent is to take this code that you see on the screen, which this code can be executed by Python 3. So it's hello.py. If I execute this, of course it executes no problem. So the intent here is to write an interpreter from scratch that can interpret this text and execute, whatever's on the screen. So that's what we're aiming to do here today. And so we're going to implement three things in this interpreter. We're going to make the interpreter understand comments. We're going to make the interpreter understand string assignments. And we're going to make the interpreter understand, the print statement, to do output on the screen. So, so we're going to write the interpreter using Python and use that interpreter to execute Python code. It's going to be cool. Here we go. Now, one disclosure, I do have notes for this. I'm not writing this truly live. It would be too much to do, and I want to make sure that this is kind of an advanced topic, so I want to make sure that I explain exactly what I'm doing. Just a second. Okay. So we have a few things we have to import. Basically, the first step that we got to do is we got to read the source file in. Well, first we have to accept that source file from the command line, because when you run Python, you do Python, and then you do the file name, and then that's what runs it. So we got to reproduce that here. So a couple imports I need: sys and os, and then regex is something I'm going to need later. So I need to first check to see if there is there's a file present. So that's as easy as doing if so that's stored in sysargv. So we're going to just make sure the length of sysargv is if it's less than 2, then of course that's going to be an error. So you must supply an input file. And of course if that happens, we can just quit. So we can test that now. Interpreter, you must supply an input file. So in this case, again, error. If I specify hello.py, then it works. So we're good there. That makes sure that I can specify an input file. And I can name hello.py anything. I guess I just did .py just so it's highlighted here. But in the end, this is what we're executing. So the second step to this is I need to create to do prints and variables and things like that, I need to maintain some state in the program. So I need a couple things. First, I need a dictionary. And what the dictionary is for is that allows me to take whatever variables get created here, so name1, name2, and name3, and I'm basically going to store that in a dictionary. The intent is to say name1 equals engineer man, name2 equals pdog, and that's going to be stored in this dictionary. Now, of course, in a normal language, keep in mind, I'm creating a very crude interpreter. Yeah, there's way better ways to do this. This is more for demonstration purposes. It's like somebody said in the chat, this is a super meta kind of topic. So this is a place to store the variable information. I also need what the current character is, and then I just need a place for the source. And of course, I'm gonna read the source into into that variable, and that's kind of what happens next. So with open, I'm gonna open whatever they pass in as file, and then source is just gonna be file.read. It's nothing more complicated than that. So I can test that now by just printing out the source. Whoops. What did I do wrong? Oh yeah, that's right. Python on this system is, oops, my bad. I'm dumb. There we go. All right, so now we see this basically just outputted the whole file. So now that we have the whole file in, we're able to go ahead and start interpreting what we see on the screen. And that's the important part. So from here, so there's several kind of functions that we're going to need. And remember, we said we want to handle string assignments, we want to handle print, we want to handle comments. So what we'll do is we're going to break that up into 3 different functions. One's going to be for handling the comments, one's going to be for handling the assignments, and one's going to be for handling the print. So we'll just make exactly that. So handle assignment. I'll just put pass for now. And we're going to fill these in later. So we'll handle assignment, we'll handle comment, and then we'll handle print. So as we work through the source, basically what an interpreter does is it loops through every character in the program, and then at each point in the source, it looks ahead and it sees what's written. So like if it sees, if the cursor is at the beginning of the print statement, it's going to look and see, do I see a keyword that I can handle? So it looks for the word print. And if it finds the word print, then it knows that it knows it needs to do a print statement, and it can just send it off to the handle print, and that function can process it the rest of the way. So to that end, what we're going to need is a while loop. And we're looking to see as long as character is less than the length of the source. So this ensures that things are always read kind of in bounds, and it doesn't read. It doesn't read to a point where obviously once it gets to the end of the code, it should just exit. So let's read the comments first. That's the first step. So for a comment, what we're really looking for is we're going to take the source character colon. So what this says is this is basically a slice of the string, and character is going to start out as 0. So this is going to be the full file at this case, and we're just going to look to see if it starts with a pound sign. If it does start with a pound sign, we'll pass it off to handle comment, and then continue the loop. Now keep in mind that we're looking to process blocks of text. So remember, we're at index 0 right now. CHR is 0. So we're at, this is going to head up to handle comment, and the cursor is going to be right at the very beginning. And it's looking, and it's saying, is this a pound sign? If it is, handle the comment. So how do we handle the comment? Well, comments are handled simply by ignoring them. So the intent here would be to just ignore that line. So to ignore that line, basically we want to loop over all the characters until we hit a new line. And then that's all it really is. So put CHR in the global scope so we can use it. And then we're looking for, well, CHR is less than the source length and the current character does not equal new line. And basically we just want to just advance the cursor by 1 and then loop back. So basically on the first iteration it's gonna see the pound sign and it's going to push it. It's going to push it to the space, and then it's going to push it to the D, push it to the O, push it to the space, and it's going to keep going and going and going and going until it hits the new line. Once it hits the new line, it's going to leave that while loop, and then I need to just push that cursor forward one more, just so it goes to the beginning of the line. And in that way, I've handled comments. In fact, something I want to do real quick is I want to do these kind of in order. So I'm gonna just copy all this somewhere else. So I can do those in order. So now we should be able to run this, and it should just exit with no problem. So you see I run it, it does nothing. Great. And that's what I want. I want to just ignore that comment, and and that would be fine. So now the next thing we're going to handle is assignments. So we have name1 equals engineer man. So what we're looking to do, the intent of this step is we want to get the value engineer man, we want to get that into the variable name1. So to do so, we just come back down to our main loop here, and we got to add a new check down here. Except this time we're doing regex. So to test for assignment, we're going to do re.match. What we're matching is, we're going to match beginning of the line, create a capture group, create character class. This is where we establish what the variable could have in the name. So lowercase, uppercase, and numbers is what we'll support here. So we'll do that. One or more, an optional space, then the equal sign. So if it matches this, then we know to send it to, assignment. So once we go up to assignment, now we got to actually, so basically the cursor is going to get advanced until it gets to right here. It's going to be right here at the beginning of N, or it's going to be at the N. It's going to be the character it's going to be on. So when we head up to assignment, that's when we're going to try to extract that variable name, name1. So once again, we need CHR and global scope. So we're looking for the variable name, var name, for instance. In this case, we can use another regex, and that regex is almost the same as the other one, except we are going to, I think it might be exactly the same. I'm just going to copy it just so I don't make an error. So the intent here is to capture the variable name that is from the beginning of the line up to a space and then the equal sign. And that's going to be the variable name. So we can check how we're doing by just printing out variable name and then just quitting. We can kind of check out our matches. Okay, so I just got to supply the CHR plus. Oops. Yeah, I forgot to put it down here. All right. So there we go. So you can see it output with an array, or sorry, a list, and that list has one argument. I'm sorry, not one argument, one element, and that element is name1. So yeah, that's what we wanted. We were able to extract that variable name, and we can see that if we change this to name 1, 2, 3, 4, then we get that now. So that's great. That's the first step. We got the variable name. So once we have the variable name, we have to advance the cursor a little bit. So the first amount we have to advance the cursor is the length of variable name. So if it's name1, then we're gonna push the cursor forward 5 characters, and then that's gonna put us at the space right here. So the next thing is, and this is pretty common in creating these kinds of things, is we need a way to just eat up all this extra space. So of course people are going to, you could do name space equals space engineer man, or somebody could technically do this. And both of these need to be just as valid. The syntax shouldn't enforce exactly one space. That's of course a little too restrictive. So we're going to create a function called, I called it squeeze, and it's taken from the if anybody's ever used Ruby, it's taken from Ruby. And all squeeze is going to do is it's going to say while chr is less than length source and the current character is in a space, a tab, or a new line, then just increment the character forward. So what this lets me do is it lets me call squeeze anytime I think there might be a long list of spaces or tabs or new lines, and it's just going to eat all that space up and get me to the next part of the code that actually means something to me. And what I'm looking to get to is this equal sign. So in this case, I'm pushing up to the space. Just please stop. I'm pushing up to the space. I'll call squeeze. I'll be using this a lot later. So squeeze is going to eat up all the space between the variable name and the equal sign. I then have to push past the equal sign, and then squeeze will eat up all the space between after the equal sign and the start of the string. So now I'm at the start of the string. Now it's just a matter of extracting the content from the string. So I'll create a variable called variable content. What I'm looking for now is I'm making sure that it is actually a string, and we're just going to say for our grammar that it's important to strings to start with a single quote. So we'll check that source character, and we're checking for a single quote. And we can do an else in this case, so we could just print out invalid string identifier or whatever, and then that would error the code. So we can actually probably test that now. Oops. Gotta put a pass in here. So you can see invalid. Well, I mean, of course I don't know why I did that, but let's see here. Oh, it did that because it looped around again. Okay, so that's fine. It could just, that's fine. That worked as I expected it to. So now that we know it's a string, we need to push past that single quote. And then what we're doing now is we're just reading everything between now and the next single quote. And I know that's not the best way to do it, because of course people can put single quotes in and you would need to track if somebody were to escape a single quote. But for this, we're just going to assume that people's strings don't have anything but text or whatever. So what we're looking to do now is loop over, while source character does not equal what's happening here is we're just going to read every character in order until we get to that single quote. So now we're just going to append it to var content. It's really that easy. And they'll just increment the character, once like that. So at the end here, we should now have var name, var content. So let's just check that. I'll just quit. Okay, invalid string identifier. So what did I do wrong here? Well, we could just output what that character is. So it's an M. Oh, I know why. There we go. Yep, that's what I wanted. What happened there is I wasn't taking the actual match from my regex. I was just taking the result of, I was taking the list basically. So you could see that it worked. You could see that now it outputted name1 and engineer man. So this is var name and this is var content. So remember we had that variables dictionary. What we're looking to do now is to just stick this content into that dictionary. No problem, right? Let's get rid of this. So we'll do variables. Var name equals var content. And then the other thing we got to do is just push ourselves past the single quote and then call squeeze to just eat up all the white space and the new lines at the end. So what we'll do now is we'll come back down here. We're just going to print out the value of variables just so we can kind of see where we're at. So check it out. There's our dictionary. Name1, engineer man. So let's add a bunch of stuff back in. Remember, I had more than one name. So now we have 3 names. I just need to you can see now the dictionary has 3 names in it. Name1 engineer man, name2 pdog, name3 ducky. So we can do any number of those. Our interpreter is now doing, it's now ignoring comments, and it's now assigning variables to it's assigning content to variables. So this is kind of like, in a normal language, this would be called a symbol table, where there's a number of content being stored for a given thing. And then I can reference this by variables, whatever. So the last step is print. So what print needs to do is print needs to first identify that it is a print statement, and then it has to read the variable name that's in the print statement, and then it has to look up in the variables dictionary, get the content, and then print the content. So that's what we're looking to do now. So just like anything else, we're going to come back down to our primary loop here. And remember, the primary loop is identifying, is it a comment? Is it an assignment? And then this very last one, we're looking for, is it a print statement? So do regex match again, and what we're matching here is beginning of the line. We're matching the word print. We're matching optional spaces. We'll 0 more spaces. And then we're matching the parentheses. And then of course we're looking at source, character, this and that. So if it sees a print statement, then it should send it over to handle print to process this the rest of the way. Okay. So up in print starts out just like all the other ones. Got to make our now, I don't know if I mentioned this yet. CHR is the current character position in the source code. That's what CHR is for. So anytime you do source and you subscript of a CHR, you get the current character that the interpreter is currently on. So because we know print is a fixed 5-letter word, we can just push 5 characters forward. And then we got to squeeze all the space between print and the first parentheses. We got to move past the first parentheses. And then now we're kind of back to code from assignment, where we need to extract the variable name that's being printed. And keep in mind, you can only print one value. You can't do value, comma, value, comma, value. However, that would be easy to do. That would be an easy feature to add later. But I don't want to go that far in this video. So what we're looking for now is we're just going to do a loop, because right now the cursor is here. It's on this N. And what we're looking to do now is we're looking to, in a loop, just write every character to the variable name that is not a right parentheses. So we'll just write that up. While source character does not equal right parentheses, just append that character to var name, and then push past that character. Once it gets to the right parentheses, it's then necessary to push past that right parentheses and then squeeze away all the space and the new line. So now we're going to just try to print, and we're actually going to do some error checking as well. So we're going to use a try statement. The reason we need a try statement is because if somebody provides a variable that doesn't exist in our dictionary, then we have to let them know that you cannot print a variable that you have not yet defined. So to do that, I use a try. And now I'm using native Python print. And I'm just doing variables, var name. So if the variable exists, it'll print it out. If it doesn't exist, I'll end up in this exception block. And I can say unknown variable var name. And I can just quit. So let's try out our code and see where we're at here. Alright, so got some problems here. If RE match, invalid syntax. Okay, what did I do wrong? Line 89. Okay. Oh, let me remove my symbol table here. All right, so you can see I'm actually getting some stuff here. So engineer man p dog ducky, but let's add a variable that doesn't exist. So let's try printing out name4, which of course does not exist. So in this case, it says unknown variable name4. It actually tells me that name4 is not present in the system. You haven't defined it, therefore it's unknown. So it just quits at that, in that case. Now, because assignment and reassignment are the exact same thing, I'm going to copy the rest of my code in here now. I can just reassign name1, name2, name3 just over the previous values, and it'll just update the dictionary with all the variables. So I run it now. You can see I get engineer man p dog ducky, and then I get pizza wolf and bratwurst. So that's that's our interpreter. That's that's how it works. And you could continue adding more features. Like say you wanted to let people assign. I got a little time, so we can look at more. At this point, I have no more notes, so I'm just coding freestyle now. So for assignment, we looked at, does it start with a single quote, but I could have very well also said, does it start with a number? So I could just do that if I wanted to. Of course, in that case, I need to get rid of this because that would no longer be thought of as an error. And I need to add this to there, so that'll push past the string. So what I can look for now is if source character you know, in so I could check to see if the very first thing is a number, and then from there I can more or less just do the same thing I did here. I can just say read to, we'll say a new line. Just read to the end of the line. And then once I get to the end of the line, I can call squeeze. So that should actually be the only thing I need to do to make it support integers. So let's try it. All right, so it's broken. So I can convert that to int. All right, so we'll do this another way. I'm sure everybody's going to be asking me how I did that later. That was one of those ninja atom moves. Yes, root beer, I do like atom better. It's just what I know the best, and that's why I look for in an editor. What do I know the best? So all right, everything works string-wise. So let's throw a new variable in here called you know, what is viewers? How many viewers? 166. So we'll do viewers equals 166, and then we'll print out viewers. Look at that, it worked. And if we check our symbol table, remember we can comment all this because we have a sweet custom interpreter now. So what I want to do at the end is I just want to print out the variables. Okay, so I have my variables here. Viewers is 166. However, it did assign it as a string version of the integer, and that wouldn't be too hard to fix. All that would require me to do is take my variables var name, var content, and just put that in there for the string version, but then just convert this to an int here instead, and that would fix that problem. So now you can see that it's a legitimate actual integer now. And from there, I mean, hopefully people can see, hopefully you can see kind of what this would allow you to do is you can write all your own language rules. Now I picked Python just because it was common, but I very well could have written an interpreter for JavaScript. I could have written an interpreter for Go. I could have written an interpreter for a total custom language. Well, how about this? Instead of having print as our, yeah, here's what's going to get interesting. Instead of having print for our thing that makes it print, why don't we rename that to yell? Now we have a brand new function here called yell, and yell is not anywhere. So, but we can define it in our interpreter. So down here, instead of matching for print, I'm just going to match for yell. And then instead of handle print, I'll call that handle yell. Instead of pushing 5 forward, I got to push 4 forward because yell is 4 characters and print is 5. And then, yeah, that's it. We're done. So let's run our code. So you can see now I used yell. Yell is our new function. So yeah, visible hi world. Yeah, it reminds me of a lolcats language. You guys should check that out when you get a sec. It's a silly esoteric language. But so you can see now that this is no longer even Python code. Now we've written a Python. Now we've written a custom EM Python interpreter. Sky, please use this to start the Get a New Chair Fund. Oh, I love it. Yeah, I do. This chair is like 20 years old. It's probably older than I am. It's super broken. The back's broken. The spring's broken. I'm killing my back. I'm doing it. I'm putting the $5 towards a new chair because this thing is dead. Thanks, Scott. I appreciate it. I will write your name on the chair box and post it in Discord. That's funny. Oh, man. Thanks for the 5, though. I appreciate that. I appreciate the support. So now we're defining custom language features in this case. We're defining custom language features, and I could define whatever. This is no longer Python. This is now Engineer Man Language X, which is just an interpreter that's written in Python. So yeah, pretty cool, huh? I mean, and how about this? Maybe when you use EL, it should output it 3 times. So that's as easy as just duplicating the print statement. So now EL means to output it 3 times. So yeah, it's endless, and this is how people build standard libraries. Is they look at the structure of the program, they tokenize everything, and then they interpret it. So I want to do one thing. I want to take a step back from this. I want to kind of talk about how you would do this the right way. If you were to, this is sort of the basics of language design. If you were so inclined to, Kieran M, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the 5. That chair better have RGBs and yeah, RGBs, Bluetooth, built-in massager, cup holder, racing seats. It's gonna have everything, man. I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Thanks a lot for the 5. I really appreciate the support. Yeah, he threw me off with that. It's funny. So I'm just going to spend just real quickly. I'm just going to talk about how you do this normally. So there are tools out there already. You should not do it like this. There are tools out there that do this, like Lex and Yak, Flex and Bison. You know, those are tools that are designed to understand grammar of your code, and that's kind of the first step to language design. Is you chair fund. Thanks a lot for the 5. Okay, we got 15. So I guess I'm buying a new chair because this chair sucks. I'm doing it. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Chair fund. That's great. Yeah, I'm totally disoriented now. What was I talking about? Flex and Bison. So yeah, no Costco chair. Oh no. Oh no, we're going big. We're going big chair. Going big boy chair. So the first step to building a language is having something that understands the grammar. So you want to define if is a keyword. Oh, the beanbag chair. Thanks, Andy. Oh, I'm gonna mess this up. Benfeld? I hope I got that right. If I didn't, I'm really sorry. And make sure you guys get up with the, make sure the fellows staff, make sure you add everybody to Discord. All right, we got $35. Don't worry, I'm getting a chair. I'm gonna come up with the shortfall. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. That's great. Oh man, getting a chair. I guess I'm getting a chair. That's my 100,000. That's my 100,000 gift. That's my 100,000 gift, partially from myself and partially from you guys. I'm gonna get a chair. Maybe I could save my back because my back is killing me right now. So step 1, read the grammar. Step 2, take that grammar and process everything into what's called an abstract syntax tree. And I don't want to get too far into what that is, but it's a tree-based way of describing how your program executes. And once you define the grammar, once you get everything into AST, then you simply just write the underlying code that executes everything else. And the overarching point here is that there's tools for this. I really just did this just for fun, just to demonstrate that you can write an interpreter in another language for a fictional language that does arbitrary things like yell 3 times and whatever. You can put whatever language feature you wanted. But this is also kind of like what a transpiler does too. Like CoffeeScript is a transpiler to JavaScript. TypeScript is a transpiler to JavaScript. And both of those languages, they do have to read the actual content of TypeScript so they can convert it to JavaScript. And yeah, like what he said, there's tons of tools. There's tons of tools out there for this purpose, and I use none of them because that's not interesting. That's not interesting. That's too high level. I want people to see a real low-level version of this, and certainly those tools implement a lot of what I did here. Okay, we're at 12:51. I'm gonna answer some questions. Oh my God, the question board super long. Actually, it's not super long because I already answered all these. Laravel versus Express.js. Yeah. So once again, that's kind of like the Django Laravel Express thing. You know, one's a PHP framework, which I've used. Remember, I know, admittedly, I tell everybody this every stream. I don't like PHP, but I am able to say that because I was a PHP programmer for like 16 years, admittedly. So, yeah, I'm in the Florida Panhandle. That's right. Yeah, I'm west of Tallahassee, and everything west of Tallahassee is Central Time. So Laravel's fine if you're starting with PHP. That's fine. I mean, it's super good documentation, super supported. Community really likes it. I don't care for PHP or that, so I won't use it. But hey, if you're getting started with PHP and you want a framework, yeah, Laravel I think is a sensible option. What's my current job position? I do a number of things. I do some project management. I do some freelance consulting. I do some side projects. I'm working on this channel a lot. Working on EMKC a lot. I got a lot of forks in the fire. I don't know that I really, focus on any one thing. I'm busy from 8 to 4, and then I'm busy from 4 to 6, and from 6 to midnight, and midnight to 2, and I get sleep when I can, and I start over, and I do it all over again. So I'm managing a lot of stuff. All right, I'm looking for questions in the comments now here. Ever do any DevOps stuff? Yes, I did actually. About 3 years ago, I was responsible for a lot of the DevOps I was in high volume background screening, and I did a lot of work there. I set up all, because they were accepting huge volumes of stuff. So I was in charge of containerizing all their stuff and getting into AWS, setting up all the templates, making sure everything was load balanced properly, monitoring all the servers, and I set up everything. So I primarily was doing DevOps there, and I didn't do it for that long, but I thought it was fun. Do you want any other YouTube coding channel? What's that mean? I don't know what that means. What's my main source of income? It's definitely not this. That's for sure. It's just my consulting. I've been doing it a long time. I got a bunch of clients that I've had for a long period of time, and I do fine with that. That gets me by. Let's see. What else we got? All right, looking for a few more questions here. Yeah, I work on a lot of stuff. While I'm waiting for questions, I've worked in high volume background screening. I've worked in digital environmental monitoring. I've worked in, of course, I've worked in the defense sector, in government. I've worked in digital research. I've worked in the yard maintenance space, not like mowing lawns and stuff, but making software for people to do that. What else? I used to work for the United States Navy for a while, doing some consulting there. I've worked in mail forwarding. I've worked in, I'm sure there's more, but I've worked in a lot of different spaces. Are you good at hacking? I'm not. I don't understand it that much. And when I say hacking in this case, I mean, the super low level kind of security stuff. I'd like to learn more about that, but I'm not really. It's not what I do at the moment. So let me make me bigger. There we go. What did you study? I did electrical engineering, and the reason I did that is because I started programming when I was 9, and I'm 33. I started programming when I was 9, and I didn't go to college until I was like 27. So I had already taught myself all the computer engineering stuff, and I didn't see it worth it to really pursue a degree that I already knew everything in. I was interested in learning something that was tangential to that, and I thought EE was a sensible option. I'd always said to myself that if I wasn't doing software, I would do hardware. I thought that was a logical kind of path away from the software stuff, but yet somewhat related, and it ended up being. So that's how I started out. I did go to college, but I wouldn't go as far as to say that college taught me how to do what you see here today. That's all just me being on the grind and me just practicing and just doing projects and projects and projects and projects. And that's what I recommend everybody do. The best way to get your skills better is just to keep working. Just keep working hard. Work hard. You got to do it in your off time. You got to do it in your studies. You got to do it all the time. You can't quit. It's going to get frustrating. It's fine. It was frustrating for me a while back. But you eventually get to the point where you're thinking more about the projects and you're thinking less about the code. The code is the sort of thing that just becomes natural. You're saying, well, I know I'm going to write the code. That's the objective piece of this. But what I need to do now is how can I design ahead of time what I'm going to write? That's the hard part. So when you get to that point, then you know your skills are at the point where you're thinking bigger picture. Will I ever do machine learning tutorials? What is PHP? What is that? Thanks for the 50 PHP. I don't actually know what that is. That could be a cent or $8,000. What is that? Thank you, Clifford. Trigo. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. I apologize for that. Thanks a lot for that. Appreciate the support. Oh, it's $1. Cool. Thank you for the dollar. Appreciate that. There's no amount too small. Appreciate that. Yeah, you want to get to the point where you're focused more on the project, because that's what's going to make you better. You got to be able to think about the big picture, and that's kind of where I'm at. I'm all about the project. I'm all about how can I design this in a really, really good, nice way, because I'm fine with the code piece. I'm going to get the code piece done. That's not a big deal. I'm going to do that. But it's will I have done it the best way? How do you decide when to accept failure and move on? I very rarely accept failure. Because I don't quit. And anybody who's been programming for any number of times knows that you may start working on something and it might be beating you up, but you're just going to do it. You're going to look at the clock. It's going to be 3 in the morning, 5 in the morning, whatever. And you're just going to just keep going because you can't quit. So I don't accept failure. Sinister mobs, I think. Yeah, late 30s. It's never too late. Late 30s, it's fine. You're good enough, especially since you have some engineering background already. I would say first, and this is kind of generic advice for anybody, but it also answers your question directly. It's figure out first where you're wanting to go. Do you want to work in systems programming? Do you want to do apps? Do you want to do web. And then once you've determined that, then just choose just one language, just one. So if you want to do web stuff, maybe look at a JavaScript or Ruby, PHP. If you want to do app, you're going to be looking at Java, you're going to be looking at Swift, on the Android and iOS side respectively. If you're looking to do system stuff, maybe look at a Python, look at a Go, something like that. So I would say I would start looking at a basics series for the language that matches the thing that you want to do. How do you decide what projects to take on? I take on projects that I got to admit that when I'm doing consulting work, I'm kind of selfish because I only take on projects that I think will benefit me, because it doesn't help me. Like for instance, I've written probably 1,000 web forms. I've written 1,000 buttons, I've written 1,000 input boxes or more, 10,000, I have no idea. And it is no help to me to build the 1001 input box. But to do things like what I did here, make an interpreter. Yep, thank you, Calix. Yeah, but to do, yeah, my fellows just reminded me, if you're not on the Discord server, head over there now. I see people asking for it. To get to my Discord, go to engineerman.org/Discord. That's engineerman.org/Discord. So yeah, I just choose my projects really carefully. I want them to, because it's a win-win for the client too. If I'm really excited for the project and I know it's going to benefit me, then that person is going to get just an awesome product because I actually care about it. I don't do work just for money. I do work because it benefits me as well, and I know that things that I'm passionate in and that I like, people will also like the end result. And with that, that's also how I keep getting work. It's mostly word of mouth anyways. And that's kind of how that happens. What you did today, is this how modules are made with new functions? Yeah, no, yes and no. Cow over there. This is answer to your question. Generally, modules are made one of two ways. They're either made by writing low-level code that exposes those modules. So that's going to be your core modules. But then there's also community modules that are written in Python. And I hope I'm getting that right. I assume the Python core modules are all written in C. They're all written in C, and they're part of the distribution. Of course, the community modules are not. The community modules are written in Python. So like requests, that's written in Python, of course. But the JSON module in Python, that's written in C. So to answer your question directly, if you wanted to make new native Python modules, you would do so in C, submit them to the project. Of course, they'd probably never accept it, so I wouldn't do that. But if you wanted to write a community module, you would simply write it in Python properly. There's a proper way to write a Python module, and then you could submit that to pip or wherever for people to download. I see a lot of questions about what's the best language to learn. The best language to learn is the one that relates closest to what you would like to do in the future. So don't learn C if you want to do app design. Don't learn JavaScript if you want to do systems programming. Okay, we're 4 minutes over, but that's okay. Checking for any other questions. Last chance for questions. Last chance to hear me talk about something, or I think we're good here. I know everybody wanted to see Ghost Dog, so I'm gonna go get Ghost Dog. Put him on stream. this is my dog. It's my puppy. This is the ghost dog that you always see, and he's a good dog. His name is Chase. Of course, he's scared because I'm putting him on the stream. But he every time you see the ghost tail, this is who you're seeing. So. Okay, I think that's it for the stream today. So thanks a lot for tuning in. And definitely come to Discord. Come to Discord if you're not already there. And check out Engineer Man Knowledge Center. And thanks a lot for everybody's support today. I really appreciate it. So, yeah, let's just keep doing it. I'll see you on the stream in 2 weeks from now. There's another Node.js video coming out in the morning tomorrow. And yeah, seriously, come to Discord. There's a lot of great discussion there. I'm on there all the time. You can interact with me anytime you want. I don't block private messages. I mean, please don't abuse that. But if you send me a private message, I'm probably gonna answer you. Because I'm a pretty personable guy, and I'm on my server all the time. It's not like I just tell everybody to go there and I don't go there. It's up on my computer all day. So yeah, I am on Discord all the time, interacting. Okay, I think we're done. So yeah, see you around. Great stream. Take care, everybody.